Since 2017, authorities including the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, the FBI, and the Westchester County District Attorney's Office have been probing multiple criminal organizations linked to a broad healthcare fraud and bribery scheme. This operation exploited the no-fault automobile insurance system in NY and NJ, generating millions in illicit profits. Under the no-fault insurance laws, insurers are required to pay claims for specific motor vehicle accidents automatically, as long as the claims are legitimate and fall below a set monetary limit. This allows insurers to pay medical providers directly for treatment without needing to bill victims, facilitating quicker resolutions without assigning blame, which could lead to prolonged disputes. The Gulkarov Indictment implicates 8 individuals, known as the Gulkarov Conspirators, in a scheme to manipulate the no-fault laws. They fraudulently owned and controlled various medical corporations, including clinics for medicine, acupuncture, and chiropractic, by compensating licensed professionals to incorporate these practices. The conspirators defrauded insurers by submitting claims for unnecessary and excessive medical treatments and by lying under oath to insurance representatives. Collectively termed the Gulkarov clinics, bribery was a key component of their operations. The conspirators paid significant sums to runners, who used these funds to bribe 911 operators and hospital staff for confidential information about accident victims. The runners then contacted these victims, misled them, and directed them to the Gulkarov clinics for treatment. The profits from this fraud were laundered through law firms, check cashing services, and shell companies, financing luxury goods and vacations. When some conspirators realized they were under investigation, they obstructed justice by creating false documents and lying to authorities. Among the leaders of this conspiracy are non-physicians like Alexander Gulkarov, Roman Israelov, Peter Kymov, and Anthony DePietro. Alongside medical practitioners Rolando Chumaceiro and Marcelo Quiroga, who incorporated practices and prescribed unnecessary treatments. The indictment also charges attorney Robert Wisnicki, who allegedly laundered substantial illicit funds and concealed these transactions through fabricated documents. NYPD officer Albert Aronov is charged with accessing confidential accident reports and transmitting this information to the conspirators, who then misled victims to direct them to their clinics. Overall, the Gulkarov conspirators billed insurers for over $30 million in fraudulent treatments. The Pierre indictment involves 5 other individuals, referred to as the Pierre Conspirators, who engaged in a similar scheme to exploit the no-fault laws. They fraudulently controlled 5 medical service corporations, including clinics and an MRI center, by paying medical professionals to use their licenses for incorporation. Like the Gulkarov Group, they billed insurers for unnecessary medical treatments and falsified injury reports. Collectively known as the Pierre Clinics. Bribery was central to their operations, with the Pierre conspirators paying runners to obtain confidential information on accident victims, who were then induced to seek treatment at Pierre clinics. The scheme's proceeds were laundered through fictitious loan agreements and shell companies. The leader of this conspiracy, Bradley Pierre, is not a physician and operated primarily from a family-owned law firm, where he monitored clinic activities and communicated with co-conspirators. Law firm 2 allegedly paid Pierre over $4 million related to the scheme without proper documentation. 2 medical practitioners, Marvin Moy and William Weiner, also participated in the scheme, conducting unnecessary tests and falsifying MRI results to inflate patient referrals. The indictment further charges Arthur Bogoraz, a paralegal, and Andrew Prime, a runner, with conspiring to pay bribes for facilitating the scheme. In total, the Pierre conspirators billed insurance companies for over $70 million in fraudulent medical services. Detecting this type of healthcare fraud involves several key strategies and techniques. Data analysis. Analyze billing patterns and claims data for irregularities, such as unusually high billing amounts for specific treatments, repetitive claims for the same services across multiple patients, claims for services that are inconsistent with the patient's diagnosis. Audits and investigations. Conduct regular audits of medical practices and claims submissions. Look for overlapping ownership of multiple clinics, lack of proper documentation for medical treatments billed, patient interviews. Speak directly with patients about their treatments. Key indicators might include reports of unnecessary procedures or excessive treatments, Patients being unaware of receiving certain treatments. Whistleblower programs encourage employees and patients to report suspicious activities. Establishing anonymous reporting systems can be effective. Collaboration with law enforcement. Work closely with law enforcement agencies, such as the FBI, to identify patterns linked to known fraud schemes. Monitoring for unusual referrals. Keep track of referral patterns to ensure they align with medical necessity. High volumes of referrals from specific sources may indicate collusion. Education and training. Provide training for medical staff and administrators on recognizing signs of fraud and the importance of ethical practices. Review of medical necessity. Ensure that all billed services are medically necessary and supported by proper documentation, including patient records and treatment plans. Frequent changes in ownership of clinics. Spotting red flags. Be aware of red flags such as providers who are not present during treatments but are billed. Use of common addresses or phone numbers across multiple practices. By implementing these strategies, organizations can enhance their ability to detect and prevent healthcare fraud effectively.